Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this out there on the World Wide Web. This is Jeremy Geelan for SYS-CON TV. Here in the Times Square studio, I have Ash Massoudi with me, CEO of NextAxiom Technology. Thanks for joining us, Ash. NextAxiom, what about just telling the world who's watching what it is that you guys do, have done, and are going to do? Give us a little insight.
First of all, thank you for having me. So if you look at it in the past 50, 60 years, we have put trillions of dollars collectively across the world into applications. And we have created all these application silos that have a hard time talking with each other. Then on the other hand, we got cloud emerging. And we're trying to convince people to move their applications to the cloud, and that's going to gradually happen. But meanwhile, we need to do new development on top of the existing application. So what we do, we have a silo-free development environment and runtime environment that allows you to build new applications in the cloud on top of your existing applications without having to move them. It doesn't matter where they are, whether they're on-premise or in the cloud, we enable that. And we call that a silo-free development and runtime environment.
So let's back up then, Ash. So the first thing that the NextAxiom bet is on is that it's about applications at this point. As far as you're concerned, cloud computing is about applications. That's what's going to drive that middle space.
Absolutely. It's really business computing, ultimately. And it's the value to the business is in the automation and the business applications that are created. And infrastructure and everything else is the necessary evil that the cloud has simplified.
And given that you're going silo-free, we can infer that in your view, silos is the main barrier. So how would people, what would be their pain points, those who are all siloed up? What are you able to say? Are you experiencing this?
Yeah, the pain point is this. Middleware, that's what's used to build applications and to integrate applications, is way too complex. It cannot be provisioned easily, like hardware is being provisioned today, like servers are being provisioned, because it has so many moving parts and so many orientations. So we really need a new kind of middleware that unifies things. So it's based on a universal app building block, just like Lego pieces. But that building block can represent a function from any system out there. So what people need to do is really to build new applications or to enhance their applications, to do enterprise mobility and embark on new initiatives. But the barrier is the complexity of middleware. It has to be simplified. And actually there's a way to look at it under a virtualization lens. Again, if you see what VMware is doing, for example, or the hypervisor is doing, is grabbing one hardware and it's making it look like many. So virtualization there means make one look like many.
Virtually. You're doing the opposite.
We're doing the opposite. Yeah. There are many silos now running on top of those virtual machines, and we're making them all look like one. Right. And the way we are doing it is with a virtual machine. So it's a form of virtualization that makes many look like one. And we call that unification. It's the other end of the virtualization. And that's going to provide tremendous value because it's about human productivity. Those business applications are about human productivity, ultimately. And down there, at the bottom of the stack, is about machine productivity. That's very important, too. A lot of money is spent there.
So now you're an old integration hand. I know Director of Integration Technology, I think, at PeopleSoft. I can remember following this career. So integration is still, for you, a key driver. But that's because that's true in business, yes? This is not a contrivance of Ash Massoudi. This is a real business problem, and here comes a real solution.
Absolutely. And the reason integration is a big problem is because programming paradigms today are introverted. So they end up building silos, and integration was an afterthought.
Yeah.
And we're saying if you have a programming paradigm that's inside of it addresses integration at its core. It's not an afterthought. That's going to solve the problem. And when you think about it, one application of unification is integration. When you have a homogeneous environment, actually you don't have the problem of integration anymore. It's a problem of composition. How do you put these building blocks, Lego pieces together? How do you compose them to build new things? And that's how we transfer information across systems.
And who might be a typical NextAxiom customer? I know it's always awkward, but is there such a thing as a typical customer? Which vertical might they be in?
Well, we are in the utility vertical. We have good presence there. We are distributed worldwide in nuclear facilities and in the utility industry. We just signed up SAIC to use us for their smart grid as a service. And they're using us in the context of integration. But anybody who's a customer of middleware can be a customer of us. And interestingly, we're not saying that you get rid of the pieces of middleware. We're just saying that middleware needs to itself be unified, just like silos of applications need to be unified. So we are creating a level of abstraction on top of it that's going to ease programming. If you think about it, I believe by 2020, cloud can do as much automation that we have done so far since the beginning of the software industry.
Wow, I like that.
I really
That's
believe
bold.
in that. Absolutely.
Okay, that's
and the
bold.
key is to unlock the functions in those silos, all the investments we made in the silos, without requiring people to jump on the deep side of the pool necessarily.
Wow.
Do it incrementally. And also you have to simplify to do that. We're going to need millions of programmers. Just like HTML, when web came and everybody became an HTML programmer. So our programming paradigm should make things location transparent, should make things much easier to program, so we can have more programmers. I think we're going to need 50, 60 million more programmers.
This is a big vision, Ash.
Absolutely, and I think it's going to happen, and thanks to the cloud has the computing power to make it happen.
Yeah,
without the cloud, we couldn't. And I really think by 2020, software is already built like cars. All these distributed components are location transparent.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, and we can just assemble them rapidly together and build new solutions on the fly, and that's what cloud is going to do for us, because it's making, again, cloud is about location transparency, and it's about pay by the drink when you really look at it, and ease of provisioning and management. So the middle layer has to have those characteristics too. It has to be pay by the drink, so there's no big upfront investment like SOA is required. If you look at it, SOA didn't really accomplish its potential because of that upfront barrier. You had to go invest a lot in middleware.
Yeah. So if reinventing middleware resonates with the audience out there, as it does with, I would think, most of us, how does someone reach out to NextAxiom? What's the easiest way? Got to go to the website?
Absolutely. So in the show, during the event, I'm here for partnership. And we have a value proposition for every player, such as infrastructure as a service players, SaaS players, ISVs that are on-premise now, system integrators. So definitely come and talk with me. I'm going to be at the booth myself as much as I can. And other than that, just go to our website and you can actually download the platform on a subscription account basis, pay-as-you-go basis.
What's not to like? A personal invitation from the CEO of NextAxiom Technology. Go to nextaxiom.com.
Yes.
Start there. Otherwise, see him at the show. Thank you so much, Ash Massoudi, for talking with us, and thank you for watching this out there on the World Wide Web.